Hunter Biden's lawyers are vowing to fight the new indictment he is facing in California.
The president's son is expected in court next week for his first appearance on the 9 tax-related charges. They include 3 felony counts and 6 misdemeanors. This is in addition to the federal firearms charges he faces in Delaware. Special counsel David Weiss says Hunter Biden broke the law by spending millions of dollars on an extravagant lifestyle rather than paying his tax bills. Biden's lawyers say all of the back taxes have been paid and called the new indictment politically motivated.
Catherine Herridge and Joseph Tully join us now. Catherine is CBS News' senior investigative correspondent, and Joseph is a criminal defense attorney. Welcome to you both. Catherine, I want to start with you. There have been so many twists and turns, as you well know, in this case. You've covered it from the very beginning. Does the California indictment actually bring new evidence to the table?
Well, good to be with both of you. I think it's really worth reading the 56-page indictment because of the detail the prosecutors have put forward. And the simple answer is there does seem to be one significant new piece of information, and it's found on page 16. I have the indictment right here. And what it alleges is that when these tax violations occurred, Hunter Biden knew exactly what he was doing. And it states, notably in 2020, well after he had regained his sobriety and when he finally filed his outstanding 2016, 2017, and 2018 forms, the defendant did not direct any payments toward his tax liabilities for each of those years. Secondly, I've been able to speak with one of the IRS whistleblowers who came forward earlier this year in this case alleging preferential treatment in the criminal prosecution. And he confirmed to me that the felony and misdemeanor tax charges that have now been filed in California mirror a recommendation, I have that here, that they made as part of their investigation in early 2022. So not specifically new evidence, but I think that central element going to this allegation that it was knowingly done by the president's son.
And Joseph, how significant are these additional charges?
Well, before there was a plea agreement that was a sweetheart plea agreement. He was facing, or the plea agreement was for 2 misdemeanors. Now he's facing 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors. So this is a significant step up in terms of the government's case, in terms of the charges that they are bringing against Hunter Biden.
Well, then, Catherine, how is this going to work with the 2 criminal prosecutions? You have one in Delaware, the other in California.
Well, it could remain status quo, and Hunter Biden and his legal team will be required to defend criminal prosecutions on opposite sides of the country. It's also entirely possible that they could seek to consolidate the case. Based on a discussion I had with a legal expert, if they consolidate in Delaware, it would take them back in front of Judge Mary Ellen Noreika, who is the one whose line of questioning led to the collapse of the plea deal, or they could try and move all of it to California. But this scenario presents some very unique legal challenges for his defense.
Now, and on that point, Joseph, I mean, as a criminal defense attorney, what would be your strategy here? I mean, how would you defend Hunter Biden against these additional charges, and how do they impact the previous charges that he's facing?
So my strategy would be to go to trial fairly quickly on the Delaware gun case. To me, that charge is subject to a lot of defense attacks in court during trial. I think it'd be very difficult for the prosecution to prove its case there. So I would go to that case, I would win it, I would come back to California, and I would say, look, they were going after him in Delaware. The charges were overly inflated, and now let's get a plea agreement. I think they've got him on the tax things. There are things that they're bringing up are saying, yeah, he did it, but which goes to sentencing, not guilt or innocence. So I think that I would win the Delaware gun case and then do a plea agreement in the California tax case.
And Catherine, I'm wondering if you could tell us what the new tax charges mean for the House Republicans' investigation into Hunter Biden's father, President Biden.
Well, I think the argument can be made that it puts more wind in their sails as they try and move this out of an impeachment inquiry to an official impeachment investigation, and that vote could happen as early as next week. The unknown factor here is whether there could be additional federal charges in this case. And reading the indictment, there's certainly some hints, some indicators that the grand jury in California is looking at possible violations of foreign lobbying laws. For one, on page 1 of the 56-page indictment, it calls Hunter Biden a lobbyist. And then it goes in depth about his business dealings with the Ukraine energy firm Burisma, the Chinese energy firm CEFC, as well as some Romanian business deals. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but certainly the indictment is laying the groundwork for potential charges in the future.
And Catherine, real quick, remind us, that was part of the reason why that plea deal fell apart, because the defense attorneys and the Biden team felt like they wanted a blanket protection against any further charges being brought. Is that right?
Yep, you have a great memory for that. But no, that's fabulous. You're really paying attention. So back in July in Delaware during that plea hearing, it felt going into it that it might be wrapped up pretty quickly. But if there was one element of the plea deal that led to the unraveling, is that the two sides, there was so much daylight between them on this issue of whether it was a global agreement and it would protect him, it would shield him from future charges. The prosecutors said, no, it would not. And they gave us one example of violations of these foreign lobbying laws, which simply mean that if you're a U.S. citizen and you're acting on behalf of the interests of a foreign government, you have to be very transparent. And we'll see where that lands in this case.
And we know you'll be watching it for us. Catherine Herridge, Joseph Tully, thank you both.